everyone, I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to do these nifty Navette earrings that we created during our live Twitch session. These earrings are featuring the February subscription treasure box. So if you've been wondering what to do with your treasure box, here's one example. If you want to check out the treasure box or any of the supplies that are in the earring, make sure that you go below the video into the description and click on the link there. Get everything out of your box, grab our supplies, and we'll get started. So for our nifty Navette earrings, we are using almost everything from the February treasure box. So the treasure box doesn't come with instructions or kits like the kit box does, but it's full of great products that might make you think outside of the box and design, or we have some designs for you. This one here I'm using the Navette, which is going to be set in a setting, and it has 2 holes along the Navette that go the whole way through the back of it. This is easy because then you get that beautiful Navette look without the effort of having to bezel it. I also have 2 of my quad bows here. The interesting thing is we're only going to be using the outer 2 holes of the quad bow, quad having 4 holes. The only thing I added not part of the subscription box is my 11-0 seed beads. I have 1 of my 6mm gemstones and then 4 of my 8-0 seed beads and my ear wire and a little wire guard if you have that in your stash and want to use it. We're going to be using 4 and 1 for each earring. So you're going to need a total of 2 of those and 8 of these. You could also add some of that red color to the top. To start out, I'm using green dragon thread in a size 8, and I have that on a size 10 needle. I've added a stop bead to the bottom of my thread, and I like to use a stop bead that is not part of my project so I don't accidentally go through it or add more passes of thread through it. It's going to come off at the very end, and I don't need that much, just enough to hold on to. This is very, very simple, and I'm going to begin with my outermost hole of my first quad bow, going from the base or the bottom of the bowl up towards the top of the bowl. Exiting through that leftmost hole, I want you to add 1 11-0 seed bead, even though 2 wanted to jump on there. Go through your Navette, 1 more 11-0 seed bead, and through the second quad bow, through the outer hole, this time from the opening of the bowl towards the bottom of the bowl. What that's going to do is frame out these Navettes in a nifty way, creating a bigger effect on them. On the top here, we're going to skip from hole number 1 all the way over to hole number 4, including a section where we put onto our thread and needle 2 11s followed by 1 8-0 seed bead followed by 2 11s. This isn't going to quite fill that space and that void. You'll see a little bit of thread on the ends, but as we add the seed beads along the top and the bottom, it'll cover that up. From here, I'm going down through the exterior hole of that same quad bow that my thread is coming out of, giving a nice tight pull to make sure there's no extra thread showing. Add 1 11-0 seed bead and sew through the secondary hole of that Navette. From here, add another 11-0 seed bead and sew through the outer hole of that first Navette, bringing your needle and thread out toward that stop bead. We're going to repeat the same seed bead rotation as we did along the top to the bottom as well. 2 11-0s followed by an 8 followed by 2 11-0 seed beads. Going through that same hole here, we're going to go through that first hole, skipping over the stop bead, not going through it, and coming out right before the 11-0. This gives us an opportunity to add a punch of color to the sides of the Navette. Go ahead and grab 1, 2, and 3 11-0s, followed by 1 of your 8s and 3 more 11-0s. Skip over the Navette, over the seed beads, and go into the outermost hole of the quad bow that sits opposite. From here, we're going to build the bottom of our piece here. What that's going to consist of is 5 of our 11-0s and our 8mm bead. If you don't want the drop look to it, you can simply add an 8-0 seed bead where the drop is in place. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of our 11-0s, followed by 1 of our 6mm, 8mm, 10mm, really whatever you want to add gemstone, followed by 1 11-0 to act as an anchor or a stop bead. If you want a little bit of red color down there, you can also use a red down there. Go back up through the bead, not going through the stop bead, that 11-0 seed bead that we used. Add 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 more 11-0 seed beads. Go once again up through the outermost hole of the quad bow that your thread was currently coming out of, and that gets that bottom. It'll sit slightly behind and have kind of a three-dimensional shape along the bottom. From here, we're going to go through and make the other side of the Navette have the little 11 and 8-0 seed bead decor. Go through that outermost hole of the quad bow that sits on the opposite side. So simple. From here, and you can see I was just getting my thread caught, that was caught a little bit on the little piece of the Navette there, on that little bezel section, that little prong, getting it out of there. From here, we're going to add a wire guard, very, very simply, and we're already here where our stop bead is. So we're just going to tie off our thread ends. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 11-0 seed beads, just like we did at the bottom. And then instead of a gemstone, I'm grabbing my wire guard or wire guardian. Up through one side of the wire guardian, down through the opposite side of the wire guardian or the wire guard or the wire protector. Lots of different names for the same project. And really the highlight of this is it hides your thread. So in my case, I'm using a green thread, so it's easier to see while recording. It also blends really, really nicely in the project, even though it's not green. I add my 5 seed beads. And also when I add my ear wire, or if you want to add a huggy earring to it, your thread is not going to rub along the metal. It gives a nice polished finish look. 5 more seed beads gets added. And then along here, I'm going to go down through that outer hole of my quad bow, move that thread a little bit off to the side. Oops, my ear wire wants to get caught in there. Not yet, buddy. Move that off to the side, bringing it towards the back. The seed bead should kind of pop towards the front of it. From here, you can go back and reinforce. I'm not even going to worry about that because it's such a light earring. I'm going back through the second hole from the right side. So we haven't utilized those holes at all. We're just using that to hide our thread along the top to tighten it up. I'm going to take my stop bead and move it off. Usually you can just kind of grab it with your fingers and push it out of the way a little bit. If you need to, you can back the thread out of it as well. That thread and needle then that come out the front, I'm going to push it through to the back, bringing it back along the side. Take this stop bead off, simply tie the thread ends, and then burn them down towards the back. Opening up your ear wire then, you're going to take your needle nose pliers, push that ear wire to the side, slide in your wire guard, close it up, and that simply finishes off these nifty Navette earrings. So simple, so quick in one clip there. And you can see just in 8 minutes, finishing and completing that earring is a snap. This is why the treasure box is great, because you have all of these materials and sometimes in low numbers, so you don't have a ton of stash. If you want more, you can always go to this site and shop for more to make a matching necklace, bracelet, or even have them hang down as well too. So there are your nifty Navette earrings. Thanks so much for those watching on Twitch that watched me create and make and record this video, as well as those of you that get the treasure box. I can't wait to see all of your really quick and easy nifty Navette earrings or variations of them. You can hang so many different things down at the bottom from the box if you want hearts or flowers, or even some of the bigger check glass beads as well. You can also make them into a pendant that you can wear and string with some of your extra seed beads from your treasure box. As always, if you haven't yet, hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Need a box and don't have one? Look below the video in the description there. We'll put a link to get back to our site so you can subscribe to the treasure box or even the kit box if you'd like, or get the supplies individually. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.